Now, from the recent parliamentary election to Russia's foreign policy, Vladimir Putin tackled a whole range of questions from the public, including a number of tough topics. The Prime Minister's annual televised Q&A with the nation lasted a record 4.5 hours. RT's Peter Oliver listened in and joins me live now. Peter, the opposition's been claiming that the results of the election were rigged. What was Putin's response to that?
Well, following the parliamentary elections at the beginning of the month, we saw videos appear online allegedly showing electoral fraud taking place. Now, these videos went viral all across the internet, and speaking about the web, Vladimir Putin said that due to the nature of it, it couldn't be limited, and also said that even if it could, it wasn't the role of government to limit the internet and internet usage. Now, he did say that technology should become a bigger part of the electoral process, saying that webcams should be placed in polling booths to make sure that everybody can see exactly what happens there.
I'm now asking the Election Commission to install web cameras at every polling station in the country, and there are over 90,000 of them. These cameras should be on around the clock so that everyone can see what's happening at every station. That'll rule out any allegations of fraud.
Well, looking ahead to the presidential elections, which Mr. Putin will stand in next year, he laid out his manifesto saying that he wanted to modernise Russia's economy and to grow and develop democracy in the country. Now, he also had some words for one of his contenders in that presidential race, Mikhail Prokhorov, saying that he was a worthy and a strong contender, but stopping short of saying that he would give Mr. Prokhorov his support. Of course, Vladimir Putin will be running against him, going for that the job of president in March of next year. Now, one final point on the elections, he did say that if Vladimir Putin saw that the people were not on side with him, that he would remove himself from office, that he would step down voluntarily if it looked like the people weren't on side.
Now, Peter, the televised Q&A session, as you were saying, lasted over 4.5 hours, so presumably there were a number of awkward questions as well.
Well, in 4.5 hours, when you're asking all the people in Russia to put their questions to one of the men at the top, well, you're going to get some great questions, and you usually unearth some gems. As I say, 4.5 hours this time, the longest that the Prime Minister has spoken for and addressed these questions. This time out was no different. What we heard was Mr. Putin fielding a question about a ballot that had been spoiled during the parliamentary elections earlier this month. Now, that ballot came from London, and whoever had filled that ballot in, or misfilled it in as it were, had left a rather choice message for the PM on their ballot paper using some, well, colourful language. Let's hear what he said.
You didn't run in the parliamentary election. Your name wasn't on the party list, and yet everyone seems to hold you responsible for the results.
Well, that's normal.
Vlast magazine published a photo of a ballot that had an obscene message addressed to you on it. I would not want to voice it right now.
Why not? Go ahead.
Putin, why don't you? The rest is unbroadcastable. What do you think of this attitude?
Yes, I've seen that message. I found it very amusing. And I was even pleased because there's nothing new in this attitude. I saw plenty of dirt thrown my way when I was president, but I did not doubt myself then, nor do I doubt my actions now. As far as I know, the message on that ballot was written in London, and we know very well why some Russians live there, and why they don't want to come back. Their obscene message to me simply tells me how much they want to come back, but they can't while I'm in power. I'm not mad at them. I'm actually grateful that they came and voted, just like I asked them to.
And aside from the elections, Peter, what other main points were talked about?
Well, the Prime Minister was taking questions on foreign policy. Regarding the United States, Vladimir Putin said that Russia wanted to improve their relationship with America and work together with the US. However, it was the United States side which really didn't want to take their relationship any further, that they didn't want to deal with sovereign nations like Russia, that they had their own type of partner they wanted to work with.
You know, they made up their mind on Afghanistan, but did they discuss the mission with their allies in advance? Hell no. They carried out their strike and only then started pulling in other forces, saying whoever's not with us is against us. We'd like to be allies with the United States, but what I see now is not partnership. Sometimes I think America doesn't need allies, it needs servants.
Well, staying stateside, Prime Minister Putin also had some comments for US Senator John McCain. Now, John McCain had said that Vladimir Putin would go the same way as Colonel Gaddafi. Now, this prompted a response from the Prime Minister saying that, well, perhaps John McCain had spent too much time in the prisoner of war camp during the Vietnam War, and this had affected his mind. Well, elsewhere, there was also statements made on Mikhail Khodorkovsky, the jailed oil tycoon. Now, Vladimir Putin said that there was a possibility he would be looking into a pardon for Khodorkovsky. All of this coming, of course, in a 4.5-hour long Q&A session, the longest so far in the 10 years that Vladimir Putin has been doing these, beating his previous record by, well, about 5 minutes.
OK, Peter, many thanks for that. RT's Peter Oliver there for us in central Moscow.